Hello and welcome to this video from zonalaudio.com. Really quick one today. Ableton Live 12.2 has been out a little while now. Even with the first update, the limiter got a huge improvement. I cannot stress how huge it was compared to what it was previously, because let's just be fair, it was nasty. It was a really grimy sounding limiter. Don't know how else to put it. And it was often tricky to get loudness from it. However, if we use two of these limiters, and what I've got here is basically the track from the last video. This is going to be on Patreon. You can go download it now, middle or top tier. I'll just play a quick version of it. Turn these limiters off. We don't need Pro L2. We'll keep span and new lean. Yeah, we'll have a quick listen and basically envisages that this track is more close to completion, maybe 70-80%, and it's time for us to take heed, bounce it out, listen to it in the car, listen to it on headphones, all that kind of jazz. This limiter technique is the absolute best for that, as opposed to any kind of mastering chain that you might find. So the mix is coming to around -8, so that would be fine. With more elements in the track, with more full tune, you might be getting up to -6. So that's your target, -6. Anything below is also perfectly acceptable. And then we're going to set up two limiters. Now, this is not a tutorial for Loudness and LUFS, but what is worth knowing for this is that most modern techno, and in fact most pop and rock music, is coming in around -7 usually, somewhere between -9, -6. Sweet spot being -7 for a loud, clean, punchy mix. So if we can get to around -7 with two limiters and very little gain reduction, good indication that our mix is in a good place. Part of the reason we're using two limiters is to take advantage of the different styles, or modes as they call them here. And then we have the styles of maximize as well. So this first limiter is basically going to act as a clipper. So on soft clip, very fast release, and then we'll leave the maximize off, and the ceiling we want to set to start clipping off those initial peaks. So it's not a particularly dynamic track at the moment. There's kind of very little musical ideas going on. So just for the sake of this, let's go grab an ARP from, or should we do a chord? Go to the ARP. Cool. So just as a side note, these ARPs have a little bit of automation on so that we can essentially loop different sections. So let's grab that and then loop here. This might need a little bit more fading and adjustment, but just so we can get the mix sounding a bit more dynamic with a few more mid frequencies in there. Probably not a bad idea to compress this. If I had a bit more time, I'd maybe just compress the lows. Okay, amazing, bouncing, bang on perfect, and bang on -6. So that's where our peaks are, at -6, okay? So we will set the ceiling to be -7. So we're shaving off, in fact, yeah, let's go -6, and then we're using the input gain to get 1 dB. So we don't see any gain reduction yet. So let's actually go, I want to keep that -7, let's go to 2 and then play that through and check when this gets to the loudest and all our other elements are going on that we're not doing too much gain reduction. Okay, so we're kind of lifting that up in a safe way. I'm going to go -1 and -7. Let's go be brave and do another dB there. And already I can tell this is going to come out pretty loud. The samples used, by the way, pretty much all groove and hard techno or purely synthesized from a sound design session in the last video, which you can check out. Even the kick. So the kick maybe isn't perfect, but it's just grabbed from an audio recording that we made. But overall, I think the mix is okay and that we will get some nice loudness out of this with our second limiter. So the first one's set up just to kind of shave off those peaks. The second one, we're going to use maximize. We'll set an output of -0.2 just for complete safety. Release, I'll be tempted to use the auto here, but I'm gonna play around. We can often get it sounding louder with a faster release, but we have to be careful that we're not introducing too much distortion. Okay, just on a side note, I'm not on headphones here, and what I would typically do here is always be working at -6 dB-ish, and then when the time comes to do the master, I am turning down my interface and then it's getting a lot louder. So yeah, if you have an interface that can support speakers or headphones, like best to mix a little bit quieter when you can, and then use a limiter to bring it up at the end. So I'm just moving down my monitor volume. Cool, and then we want to bring down the threshold again until we see a tiny bit of gain reduction, and this time we're going to put this in true peak. Has an overall smoother sound with the release, where maybe with the auto release, maybe sacrificing a bit of punch for that. But yeah, options to be had here. Let's check the LUFS at this point. So that's now being pushed to match the LUFS that this one was giving us. We're doing a lot more gain reduction and it sounds like fucking shit. I'm sorry, but it does. And I don't know why or how to explain why this limiter sounds so bad, but it does. Let's do a little A-bit. So I hope that comes across on YouTube that is, I didn't have my send on there, it shouldn't matter too much for this, but yeah, that little double limiter trick, now we've got the soft clip and the true peak, that sounds so much better than just one limiter. So previously I would advise people to get Pro L2 and basically do a similar thing to this, just one limiter, but you with the settings that were available on that, you could make that sound clean and punchy. The double limiter thing, not necessary, but yeah, now that we have these options, the live limiter, viable, usable limiter, nice, like it. This is how I recommend you prepare your tracks for basically like pre-master listening. So once your mix is in a place that you're happy, set something up like this. Be careful not to drive too much into a limiter. When putting your track out and being ready and listening to it, maybe sending it to other people for feedback, you need the mix to be the mix. If you use a master chain, especially an Ableton style master chain, so many of them are just not designed in a way that's particularly useful for someone that doesn't do mastering as a job. So just keep it simple. And yeah, this is something I'd suggest. Looking for no more than 2 dB gain reduction on each one. You can easily achieve a level of -7, -6. Anyway, I hope this was useful, informative, enjoyable, or educational in some way. If it was, please leave us a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye.